Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. Gino Buccola alongside Mailloux. We're going to preview the Sunday race of the day. It's opening weekend out at Monmouth Park. We're going to head out there and take a look at race 5 on Sunday. It's the Serena song, and we have a field of 6 lining up. Ashley, they'll go 1 mile and 70 yards in here. I think a lot of money is going to come in on the one Power Squeeze. That's a grade 1 winner, multiple graded stakes winner, now a millionaire, and she's faced the boys in her last couple starts. But to the outside, Morning Matcha is also a millionaire now. And you have a horse like Take the Money Honey, who is pretty honest, pretty quick, has done very little wrong in her career. So I think those three kind of feel like the major players. But even, Catherine Wheel for top-notch connections at Monmouth Park isn't completely overmatched by this group.
Yeah, I think Power Squeeze is going to go off favorite here. Should be the morning line favorite as well. It's going to be interesting. Take the Money Honey, Catherine Wheel, Morning Matcha, all are cross-centered in the Ruffian, Grade 2, Belmont and Aqueduct. And it looks like maybe that race came up tough. It's a big field. Mike Beer and I went over it in a preview. I don't know who's going to go where, but I have a feeling more of them might go in this direction with the way that race came up. It just came up tough.
Yeah, let's meet the Timeform US Pace Projector here. This is where maybe you can beat Power Squeeze if Take the Money Honey gets out front. I think, Ashley, because Power Squeeze is really, really honest, and she actually ran very well and kind of pushed the pace last time out, but we don't really think of her as a speed horse. She's more of a mid-pack, kind of a grinder. She's certainly the class of this field. Take the Money Honey seems like the one they'll all have to catch in here.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how easy of a lead that she'll be able to get in here if that's the case. I think the other thing when you look at her form and you look at her races, a lot of one-turn form for Take the Money Honey. So 2 turns is a little bit of a different task. I don't really think the yardage, 70 yards, is going to make a big difference, but we'll see. I think if she's going to go to the front, she's going to have to be a little bit conserved and just kind of make it so that she is going easy early. Does anyone else go in here? I'm not really sure. Even if they want to, they will. I could see Catherine Wheel maybe pressing it rather than Power Squeeze, but we'll find out on Sunday.
Power Squeeze is a grade 1 winner. And when you look at some of her defeats, Ashley, I think she's been defeated 3 times by Torpedo Anna and twice back-to-back races by White Abario, some of the absolute best horses in training over the last couple years. I was really impressed with this race from her because you can see her kind of tiring and backing up now, but she was right there with White Abario through a lot of this race and kind of pushing it. And what I love is she actually ran in this race to try to win the race. Like, she took a shot at White Abario. She wasn't quite good enough, but she held second that day. I always appreciate, as a racing fan and as a gambler, when you see a horse take a shot at the big horse and not just run for second. She did that there. And just looking at the rest of this field, it's going to be such a different race when she's loading into the starting gate. She's not looking over at White Abario. She's not looking over at Torpedo Anna.
This is probably by far her easiest race since the Suncoast. I mean,
Yeah.
she's just been in really, really tough spots. And I think this is the right move. I know she won the Alabama, she won the Delaware Oaks, but with those last few, she's had some defeats, some of them closer than others. I think this is a good way to get her confidence boosted. Just her third start now as a 4-year-old filly. Try to go for a win here and then kind of target those summer spots, whether you want to go back to, say, New York, or you want to try for other options. This is what I think she needs. I think she's the class of the field. I don't know if there's much more to say, Gino. I mean, she has been facing by far the toughest competition.
And that was a career best buyer speed figure from her last time out with that 93. So she's in really nice form right now, too. Just a great, logical, softer spot for her to hopefully get a confidence building win. But she'll have to be on her A game because right next door, she's going to face a sharp horse, Ashley. Take the Money Honey, who is a nose defeat away from being a perfect 4 for 4. She finished second at Aqueduct, and she lost to Catherine Wheel in there, but that was also the first start going longer for Take the Money Honey. So, I mean, you can make a little bit of an excuse there. She also ran pretty well on the gallop out. It's almost like she got nailed right on the wire, and then after that, she kind of realized she got beat, and she wanted to keep going, and she wanted to keep kind of being competitive. I think she's got some ability. I think it's a really nice spot for her. Yeah, I just feel like if you're trying to beat Power Squeeze, it's with the horse who's a little bit faster than her right next door, and that's this one.
Absolutely. And I think she's just a little bit more of an unknown, right? You mentioned it, just one blemish on the resume. I think the other thing that I like about her is the way that she's been handled by her trainer, Michael Moore, and the fact that since she's been racing those last two, you go into the preparation for them. There's sometimes not a breeze or there's just one breeze right directly before. And look at her last one. She's not a slow workhorse in the morning, but the workout suggests she's in fine form off that win, 47 flat for 4 furlongs at Parks, the fastest of 39 workers that morning. Love everything about her. And I know she's fast out of the gate. I'm still not convinced if someone were faster than her, which I don't think anyone in here is. I think she's fine rating. She's just
Yep.
naturally fast.
Yeah, completely agree. Not many knocks on the two. Take the money, honey. Beach Days is a 6-year-old mare who hasn't raced since the end of November. She's an 8-time winner, though, Ashley. She's earned 436,000. She's a multiple stakes winner. She does have a couple wins at Monmouth Park. I think she feels a cut below like the two inside horses that we just talked about. To me, this kind of feels like a starting spot. I like to see how she races and then maybe play her next time.
Yeah, I think they're using this as a starting spot for those New Jersey bred stakes races, which is a very lucrative program up there at Monmouth Park. So you can kind of go down the page. That's where she's pretty competitive in those events, depending who she faces. And, you can draw a line through a race 3 back. I also think, some of her form, does she want to go 1 turn or 2 turn? I actually still think it just depends on the race flow. And in here, I'm not sure she's going to get the right setup. I think she needs a race, but a horse that's also cross-centered. She might not even go here. They might use Parks instead.
Vinci Girl comes up next. She's going to make the third start of her form cycle. She did finish third most recently in an allowance race at Aqueduct, and she outfinished Morning Matcha in that one. What do you think about Vinci Girl's chances in here?
Would love to see a 2-turn race. That's for sure, Gino. That's the one thing that I'm concerned about. And I shouldn't say that she doesn't necessarily have one. I just don't want to look at the Charlestown 7 Ace race and know how to handle it, right? It's just a different
Yeah.
configuration than here. I don't think she ran horrible in that race. I don't think she also ran incredibly well in it. And she took a lot of play next time out in the weather vane, had to cut back to 6 furlongs, and again was closing from off of it. Maybe those races, kind of in the Mid-Atlantic, they just haven't set up for her style as a closing sprinter. She's run fine this year in her 2 outings, but not a play for me.
Catherine Wheel has never been worse than third in her 7 starts. She comes into this race off of a third place finish in a stakes race on a muddy track over at Laurel. There just really wasn't any passing in that race. Royal Spa went out front and kind of was able to cruise and take advantage of the way the racetrack was that day, where it just was a tough track to pass on. But it's hard to really knock her overall form, right? I just like the others to the inside a little bit more than her, but she hasn't really done much wrong throughout her career, Ashley.
No, and Mike Beer and I sort of talked about her form in the Heavenly Cause last time out when we did the Ruffian preview, just because she did kind of seem like she was going to make it up and close the
Yep.
gap a little bit, and then she didn't. And that was sort of the turn off for me in that race.
Yeah.
But prior to that, her race was very good when she was able to pick up her second career victory. So I don't necessarily want to hold it against her. I just would have wished for a little bit more. And she could be a short price in here. Is there a chance she's not far off of second choice? I think that's a possibility, just knowing the connections.
Yeah, absolutely. People will see that she beat the 2 horse. She outfinished her, and they'll see the connections. She's never been off the board. A live rider at the meet. Lots of positives, but the price. I'm gonna look a little bit elsewhere in the top spots. We round things out with Morning Matcha. She's a millionaire. She's grade 1 place. She's multiple graded stakes place. She was second in the 2022 Cotillion behind Society. She actually ran at Monmouth in her career debut, going 4.5 furlongs in the slop back in June of 2021. And she hasn't been back to Monmouth Park since, because 7 of her 8 wins have been at Parks. She did win a New York Stallion Series race at Aqueduct. Last time out, just like a really slow start. Took a while to get going. She was almost 15 lengths out of it early, Ashley. I absolutely can excuse that race and say she'll shake some of the rust off. I would have just liked to see a little bit more. I get nervous when horses get older and then they kind of sour like that. So while I expect her to be better than that, I'm a little bit worried now that she's a 6-year-old mare and maybe not quite as sharp as she was.
Yeah, it's really tough to assess her because I think if you go back, what I like to do for this, because you look at her form, they've tried various things, right? They've tried her in sprint. She has the route. She got a turf race there. So when I was using Formulator, I just had it filter, right? And just look at the routes on the dirt. And they're overall, it's a pretty good body of
Yeah.
work. It's just whether you think she can rekindle, say, some of the 2023 form. I don't think the 2024 form was the greatest. She did get that big win, though, at Parks, where she was towards the back of the pack. They didn't go fast. But I just wonder here, based on this group, can she get a bigger piece? It's a little bit of a tough sell, knowing that I think some of the inside horses are going to have the jump on her, and I think they can stay. I think if this was maybe just a little bit of a softer group, she'd be a major player.
Yeah, and that last race, I was kind of being hard on her for too. That was at 6.5, and she's stretching back out. That did look like a prep race to set her
Mhm.
up for this. So I just put her in the bottom of the exotics, Ashley, as we move to our selections here, because I know class wise, if she were to show up, she'd be competitive here. I'm hoping to Take the Money Honey can maybe steal this race, but I respect the heck out of Power Screes. I think it's a great spot for her. I have her in the second spot. I go 2-1-5-6. We use the same four. You're just going to put the very classy filly on top.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, I'm basically giving out chalk here, and this is maybe the odds they'll go off at, Gino, in
Yep.
sequential order here, favored to, I guess, fourth choice. But it's tough for me to necessarily see Power Squeeze getting beat here. I think if anyone does it, you have the right horse. You have the up and coming horse who's a little unknown. Curious to see her at a mile and 70 yards. So I think one of us will end up the winner here.
Every race of the day, you get free past performances on the website, DRF.com. This is the Sunday race of the day. Make sure you head on over there and get those free PPs. Best of luck, whoever you play.